Hello, good evening. I'll do audio and video. And I had my speakers on, so I'm not sure if that caused problems, but I just turned them off. So I will wait for chat to catch up so that I know for sure everything is fine. And the reason being because I unhooked everything. So when I redid the power supply. So I definitely need someone to tell me if they can see and they can hear. All right, I'm getting nervous. No one's responding. Yay, Jill, thank you. That's how long the lag is right there, boy. All right, I have autofocus on. Let me turn it off. And we will get started. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sally. Hello, Linda C. Jill, Laura K. Not sure who else is here. I think I got everyone that's here so far. All right, cool. Yes, you can see and hear. Thank you very much. Okay, I have all the lights on, but I think the microphone is throwing a lot of shadow. And I hope that's not really loud, me moving it. Okay, so here's how my text block is going. This is the kettle stitch, sorry. That I am doing, and I literally only have these couple to go, and I would have been done before the stream, but I didn't get it finished and I got distracted. But I'm really, let me poke this. I'll just pull it through. There we go. I'm really thrilled because it looks like it's going to be, this is the one I'm working on, so we'll ignore that one. But this one looks like it's pretty firm, not too bad. That's in between those and in between. So not too bad so far. Never done one like this before, so we'll see. Hello, B. Hello, Marcy. Streams have been lagging really badly the last few days. Yeah, that's my stream. It always tells me that it is sluggish or bad in the very beginning. So we'll see. It usually improves. Yes, B, I am making the entire a full case book, I think it's called, with the exception that I am cheating at the very end. Once I glue it, I'm using what is this called again? I forget what it's called. It's a binding. I want to say it's something like gig or something. I can't remember. Gaffer tape. That's what it is. It's gaffer tape, so it's a cloth bookbinding type of tape. Looks like this. It reminds me a lot of like a cloth duct tape or something. But anyway, I'm going to use that for the outside of the binding instead of doing the extra piece of cardboard. If you think about it, what I patterned it from, what I'm making it is basically this right here, right? So this is the inner portion of my dilutions. Yes, gaffer tape. Thank you, Sally. This is the inner part of my, where's my cover? Hang on. All right, so this is traditionally would be the Dilutions journal, and I pulled it off. I just separated it so that it was just the book, so that I didn't have to deal with the hard cover while I was using it, but I can put it back in for the hardcover after, which is what I did with my last one, which I would show you, but it's put away already. So I just modeled it after this, and this just uses a cloth tape for the outer part of the cover. So I've just got two pieces of, I'll show you, hold on. So I've just got two pieces of file, or I mean of an envelope. I'm going to put the bubble side on the outside of it. And in order to make, because it's really flimsy, to make it thicker, I'm just using this cardboard. I'm just going to cut it down, glue it together. And then this will be my end papers on the inside when it's done. But anyway, so that's just my little side project. That's not what we're doing tonight. It's just what I was working on in here in the studio before. And so let me clear this off. And put it away. Now what we are going to be doing tonight is, I've lost the page because I closed the book. Here we go. So this side I prepped it in advance with, and I have autofocus off, so keep that in mind. So this is gesso that's dry that I just textured. And then on this side I thought I would do something a little bit different. So this side is just light molding paste from Golden, and I did it really thin. That's why you can see the cream color through it. Yeah, these, I love these. I wanted to try it with just file folders and see if I could make my own. After I bought all the supplies and everything to make 2 of them, then was it Linda C? I think it was Linda C sent me another Dilutions journal in the mail, but I still wanted to make these just to see how much fun they are to work in. Yes, you could use book covers if you have a book that's this, you know, the book cover is the size of book you want. Yep. Yeah, I actually don't make journals very often. I mean, I have several times over the years, but for the most part, I just use a pre-purchased one. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that I would go through journals so fast. And because I would go through them so quickly, it almost seemed like I was constantly making a journal. Do you know what I mean? So instead, I just opted for... I'm trying to separate out watercolor brushes right now really quickly. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh, I would just buy the really cheap. Basically, they're almost like sketchbooks instead of journals. So, but now I don't go through them as often because my production has slowed down. Too many distractions in life. So instead, I'm actually enjoying. I've never done a kettle stitch before. I've done a Coptic, however you say that. I have done that one once before. I've never made a case book where it's, you know, a separate, whatever you call it. Oh, what's the name for it? I forget the name for it. Yeah, it's driving me crazy. I can't remember. Anyway, whatever the whole piece is called before it has any cover on it. Okay, moving on. So we prepared in advance tonight, knowing that we were going to be painting on textured pages. Obviously, you don't need the texture to do this if you're wanting to follow along from. Just from people picking this stream up on YouTube. But for those of us who did do pre-textured, we'll have the texture underlayer. And all we're doing tonight is I ran across a really old video of mine back when I first started drawing faces and painting faces. Well, yeah, not signatures. It's when they're all the signatures are sewn together. There's a name for that. Can't think of it for the life of me. But anyway, so I used to do faces, and like I would say it was taking mixed media to like the finger painting level. That's how I used to paint faces, and I haven't done that in like forever. And I had some computer troubles, So I've been cleaning off some of my external hard drives and making room, getting rid of stuff that I don't need to keep. And I ran across this video and I was like, I haven't painted a face in that way in a super long time. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And I think I'm going to even kind of stick to the colors that were in that old one, because there was a lot of turquoise and I think some orange, and I'm going to just throw a little bit of a deeper red in there because the particular orange that I have is very transparent. And some white paint. I've got a couple of these that I need to use up because there's just a tiny bit left over, and probably more stuff. But first we're going to start just with these couple of colors. So I'm going to play with just background, and I really don't want this bright white as my background. So I am going to include some cream color. We'll see what kind of an orange I end up with for that. And we'll put out some turquoise. And it's funny, I'm a little too neat of an artist nowadays. When I look back and I see those older videos, I didn't care near as much about getting paint on my fingers. And it's not that I have made a conscious choice to be cleaner and neater. It just sort of happens, I think, over time. Maybe as you just gain more skill with working with paint, you tend to wear less of it. You know what I mean? Like as babies wear less food, the better that they get at eating. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to make this cream colored largely in the very beginning, although I really don't mind like a tiny bit of the white poking through. But one of the main things that I love about this particular journal and why I'm making one with file folders is because I love the cream color. That's probably, like a huge reason. If the pages were all the white, like that one that I had that was the Dilutions, it was partially white. It was like partially mixed media paper and partially watercolor or something. I don't remember. Whatever it was. Some of the pages were very bright white, and I didn't enjoy working on them as much. So, all right, I'm going to mix this up. It's going to be, I think, a kind of a dull orange because I did use orange red or a Tuscan red, like a rusty color. Yeah, it's more of a red than it is an orange, but that's all right. All right, so I'm actually just going to skip the using paintbrush and just use my fingers, which is exactly what I was doing in that older video. And since I'm going to paint both pages, I do think I probably will do them sort of almost like simultaneous. So kind of like two paintings in one. You wear way less paint these days, yeah. I'm trying to get back to wearing it. No, I'm not really. No particular color palette. Use whatever you want. We're just painting faces. Nothing overly complicated. Not really even per se teaching, if you know what I mean. Like I gave that up. No, I retired. Now I just hang out with my friends. So I'm getting paint. I know I'm getting this in the paint. So, okay, to kind of get us started or warm us up, what's everyone up to? It is chilly here tonight. For some of you, you would laugh because it's probably your daytime temperature, but it's going to be 43, I think, tonight. And for me, that's like ridiculously cold. So I'm just randomly adding some color to this page. I know, or these pages. I know that I'm going to paint a face on them, probably one on each. So I kind of have a somewhat of an idea of where I do and don't want color, but it really doesn't matter because the mixing of all these colors is part of what is super fun about it. And at the same time, we're going to put like flesh colored paint on it anyway. So even if you put it right in the middle, some of it might show up, some of it might not. I will say that over here on this gesso, and I'm using Liquitex Extra, let me look at it. What does it say? Super heavy gesso. Liquitex super heavy gesso. So this is a gesso, but it's much smoother. The paint slides across it as compared to this one where that molding paste, it's like a foam almost, you know what I mean? So like it's almost like super porous. So yeah, it just, you know, you put it down, it kind of stays where you put it almost, whereas over here you can cover like a much larger area. But if I do that over here, you know, it like stays where you put it. This is Vegas, no? Oh. Yeah, I laugh at my own jokes. It's all right. Let's see. I didn't need as much of this as I put out, but it's fine. I'll just use a bunch of it up. And then I think I'll put a little bit of the off-white out, just so that I can get some different color mixes. Or get the, you know, get the colors to mix a little bit, get kind of muddy, make a mess. Gets a nice, lovely, warm flesh tone with that Tuscan red, which would be, you know, in professional paint colors, I guess would be like an Indian red. All right, let's see. Now you can get out whatever you like to use to make marks. The video that I shared that we're using, which you got, you know, those of you who aren't on my Discord wouldn't have seen it, but basically I used, I think like charcoal pencil maybe. I'm just going to use the Stabilo All, and because I'm going to do two faces, I think I'll do them similar and paint them together at the same time. Okay, what is this? You have chocolate and you didn't send me any? No. You saved her cat. Oh, you're such a good person. Oh no, and a storm kitty was stuck in a stormwater drain. Aw. Good job. Sally, you just finished a cold wax and oil painting. Cool. And uploaded. You uploaded it to YouTube? It's on your channel? If so, I will check that out. Love cold, well, I don't actually use cold wax anymore, but okay. Let's see. I think I will do this one kind of in the middle, but the other one I might not. So I'm just going to sketch a little face very carefully because it's still a little bit damp. Mine is from earlier today. So I think I'll just put this girl here. And these are, how do I describe these? These are very much that sort of concept of imperfect. So because you have all that texture and you're going to be working over that texture, it doesn't want to show your link. So let me see if it'll, oh no, it just didn't want to show your comment to me. Yes, on your channel. Yeah, I will definitely visit. Okay. Everyone should go visit afterwards. Is this broken? No. Anyway, as I was saying, because of all this bumpy texture and stuff, it's, I mean, yes, you can get it perfect, but this kind of, the whole point is to encourage you to not get sort of caught up in or stuck on being, you know, like, don't worry about if the eyes are proportionate or if they're perfectly, you know, level. Just play and have fun. These are supposed to be something that you could definitely sit and do with, you know, like preteens, even some adolescents if they're, you know, cool with drawing, that kind of stuff. And of course, you don't have to do, obviously, you don't have to do faces. You can do anything you want. Birds, bunny rabbits, whatever. Float your boat. I'm going to do little faces. Okay, so wait, where did I do that chin at? It's hard to see that chin. It gets really dark and blue right there, which is good, but all right. I will fix or flesh out any really major things that I don't like as I go. But I think for this girl, I'm going to do her hair just kind of with my fingers, and then I'll figure out ears and stuff like that after. And I did say I was going to do them all at the same time, didn't I? All right, so then over here, let's see. Let's do, I think I'm going to do the same thing, but I think I'm going to put this girl kind of, and on this one is the modeling paste, how do you say that? And it's like, it's thicker for one thing, but it's also kind of spongy. It's definitely interesting, not at all similar to painting over gesso. Not at all. All right, so this girl we'll put over on the side over here, like this. You have too much red, B. Add some white to it, some yellow. You were just talking with Petra. Oh, I miss Petra. I haven't talked to Petra in a while now. She learned to let go from me. That's pretty cute. You can't keep up, B. Just do one. I'll slow down. I'm not in a hurry. Layla. Hello, Layla. Haven't seen Layla in a while either. I'm going too fast for Jill too. You're crazy. Come on, you guys. What do you mean? Jill's always keeping up with me. All right, I'll slow down. I need some coffee anyway. And also this little chin over here. I can always find things to fix. Yeah. I got her mouth going in a different direction. So I'll just fix that. Now all of her features are slanted. That's a little better anyway. You're cutting out collage? Yeah, I know a couple of people said that tonight they were just going to be either cutting out collage or they were going to be actually working on their glue books instead of painting along, which is cool. All right, hopefully everyone's kind of catching up now. Yes? No? Oh, go get coffee. We just started. I can't go use that excuse yet. Plus, I'd have to pour this one out in order to get another one. So, you guys just need to keep up. No, I'm kidding. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to paint over it anyway. Let's see. Same problem over here. I get the chin wrong every time. Or not the chin, actually, the jawline. The jawline is my kryptonite. Not that I'm Superman, but although I could be an alien, you never know. Okay, so for the hair, I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm just gonna go for broke and do jet black. Yeah, you have a heat gun. Get busy with that heat gun. Linda, see you painted on your keyboard. Yeah, my keyboard's covered with spatter. It's my favorite thing to do. So, all right, hair. I'm just going to do my usual, I guess you would say. Something messy and wild and crazy. That's what it's going to be. And then on this one, I think her hair is going to be different. And that was all of that paint that I put out. It probably won't stay this color, so just FYI. How are you guys doing? Oh, Layla, yeah, you have to make your make it a habit of checking the Discord. Or do you have the if you put Discord on your phone, you can set it up for certain kinds of notifications. One of them being anytime I post, in general only. No. I always post that kind of information, or try to anyway, in the general area. But I do also post it to Patreon, so I'm sure you got several notifications. All right, I am tired of waiting for you guys. No, I'm going to go to a small round when I find one I want. Hold on, bear with me. I'm so picky. All right, we're going with this one. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's a size 2, or maybe it's a, yeah, it's probably got to be a 2. I think a 4. It's, hang on. Nope, it's a 4. Not that I can tell from this, but I compared it to another one. Okay, so for the features to start out with, I guess, because I have lots of it, I'm going to use this turquoise. Again, you can use anything you want. We're just going to be messy. This is a terrible brush. I don't have a lot of good acrylic brushes anymore because I don't paint with acrylics that often. So all of these brushes are like really old ones. I need to invest in some new ones. Let's see. Let's do all of the shading and everything with, at this point anyway, with this turquoise. Her lips are off a little. I'm gonna get a little of that red. This is gonna make mud, so don't freak out if I'm over here making a lot of mud. It's fine. And yeah, that gets her face a little bit more into proportion. I'm gonna add a little white, or I mean white, a little water on my brush just to get that red to move, because it's pretty much just about gone. And here's what I want to say about doing these types of faces is this is the time, more so than any other time that you're working in your journal and that you're doing anything with faces, especially for, you know, like anyone here who's learning or wants to, you know, learn different ways to loosen up or that type of thing. The key to this is now is the time to do any weird thing that just pops into your head. Because you're working over top of all this texture, because you have all this random color and stuff going on, it almost creates an environment that allows you to sort of forego that worrying about a really neat line, because it's difficult to get a really neat line on something this textured, and most people who are looking at it even if they have no idea how to paint or have never painted a face, or are just looking at your journal out of politeness because they saw you with it or something, or wanted to show interest in what you were doing, and they really are coming from a place where they have no clue. Even those people are going to understand almost just a natural response that they're not going to expect it to be neat. They're going to see all that texture and realize inherently that I mean, obviously you could do it very neat and careful and all that, but again, think of it as an opportunity to just do any old thing. You decide that, as an example, I'm going to paint the noses, really red, right? Like I want every one of these to have really red noses. Now's the time, or like an idea kind of pops into your head and you think, I wonder what that would look like. These are the kinds of pages where you can play with that. More so than others. I mean, for me, every page I can play with like that. But for those who are not used to taking those kinds of risks, or that it feels kind of risky, if this feels risky to you, then this is a great opportunity to sort of let go of that and just kind of play and just see what happens. So like maybe I want all the eyes to be red. Right? I'm coming up with things that I've done in the past, by the way. So, like all of this is just going to be red. And then I'm only going to just kind of bring the eyes out themselves. But I'm going to leave, the rest of it just kind of really, really red. You'll see what I mean when I get to the painting it, but, and not talking so much. But yeah, so if you've done these with me before, because I used to do these all the time, then you kind of already know what I'm talking about. And let's see. I'm not really ready to make any sort of commitment as far as like drawing in shirts and clothes or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of keep playing with the faces. And I'm going to go just like to a nice flat, medium flat, I guess you would say. So I don't know what size this is. No clue, but whatever. It's just a medium flat. I like to put down, I want to say almost impressionist style marks when I'm doing these. So I'm going to move this hoard of brushes here. I'm going to try to get a little bit of that red. There you go. Mix it with a little of this off-white. And then I'm just going to start laying in some skin color, but I'm not going to try to, again, make it neat or make it match or, blend or look like anything. I'm almost going with an abstract look just for now. It won't stay entirely abstract. The more layers you put on, you're almost working your way towards getting more and more careful, more and more detailed, taking a little more care with each layer as you build. Yeah, you used a pencil. I used the end of my paintbrushes, like 3 different sized ones, to scrape into the paint. Usually when I do these, or when I used to do them, I used to write stuff in the paint, knowing, like the texture, knowing that most people wouldn't even pick up on it, like really tiny. But today I was in a hurry, so I wanted to work on making that file holder journal. So I just quickly made a bunch of scribbles. I'm going to add a little of the orange this time. Excuse me. Layla, I like those wild colors. All right, so this girl, I put a little orange into that flesh color. It does look different, but it's not as dramatic. We'll have to do something really dramatic between the two of them because I love my drama on my page. And they look really similar still right now. Also, too, this part here, if you don't have it right, you can easily correct it on this particular style of page. You can with any time, but for those of you that are shy or new, this is something I'll show you how to correct when we get to the end of it. And if you think about it, when I show, when I do it, you're just like, well, duh, you know what I mean? Like, it's a no-brainer once you do it once or think of it once. All right, so I'm just kind of getting this color moved around here in a couple of places, do a little blending. If you ever need to do a little blending and your paint isn't really, like you need something to kind of go in between the two, opt for like an off-white or a zinc white if you have it. So like in other words, a mixing white. That turned quite brown, didn't it, as it dried? Very interesting. I might throw in some pink. But first, before I do that, I'm going to take some of that Indian red, some of that Tuscan red and mix it with, excuse me, a smaller, I'm going to mix it with this brush because you're not supposed to mix with brushes at all, but I don't listen very well. So that's like an interesting purple, and I want to see what that dries like. Is it going to dry like the brown as well? I don't know. Or, that this one that turned into brown. I think I picked up some wet black or something that caused that. Not that I care, but I wasn't paying attention to how it became, why it dried that color. So here the iris itself is, kind of like they're not the same size and maybe they're not in the right exact place. So I'm just going to keep playing with the paint, moving things around. I will create like this upper crease in this upper eyelid. I'll create those things and then obliterate them and then create them again. And I think I remember Susie Blue was the only person I really took any kind of a face class from. Her and Jane. All I can think of is DeRozier, and I think that's not her name now, Gritty Jane. Anyway, those are the two people I've taken face classes from. And I remember one of them, I think Susie, saying that it was a push and pull, a give and take. By moving things around, it's almost as if you're playing with like paper dolls and you get to, like change their clothes, so to speak, put paint down, put white paint back over it and kind of get rid of it or some other color. But I think that is what attracts me more than anything to, when I'm working in mixed media, because I don't work in mixed media all the time, but when I'm working in mixed media, I really think that's one of the things that draws me to it. All right, so over on this girl over here, it's almost as if I didn't draw anything with pencil because I've painted over a lot of it, which is no problem. So I'm just going to use this tiny little bit of paint that I have out here, and too much water, not enough color. I'm almost kind of redoing these. And another thing too, like if you're not sure and you're trying to fix a problem, so for instance, like her nose is not right, so if I'm not sure, I'm just going to draw lines, because you can just draw lines if you want. And the reason I say that is because you can also just paint away the actual lines when you get to that point. So I'm going to give her dark green irises, and I'm not even following what I originally drew. All right, so like for instance, where I made those two lines there. Oh wait, she doesn't have that. She has that Tuscan red, doesn't she? Let me put some more of that out. So like for her, I can just come in and just make those go away. So yeah. Yes, this is painting, kind of painting wet into wet. It's almost, at least with me right now with the heat on, it's almost impossible to paint wet and wet with acrylics because everything is drying super fast. But I do absolutely love to paint alla prima. It is my most favorite way to paint. So, but I have to pretty much either use gouache or oils for that. All right. I'm debating. I'm going to add some blue shadows in here. I did the red, but I feel like if I'm going to leave this almost like mask-like, then I probably want to add some shadows in a different color. And the best blending tool in the world is your finger. Just FYI. And it seems to be the best blending tool for just about any medium. I've even used it to blend watercolor before. Okay, let me think. Do I want to introduce hot pink? Nah, I don't feel like I'm ready yet. So I'm going to deepen up a little bit of this. That one already is. I'm going to make those eyebrows darker. How's everyone doing? I think everybody's busy. No one's talking. Everybody's busy now. Or at least for those who are painting along. Okay. I am going to add some of this darker red into her lips. Let's see. I corrected the nose, so now I can kind of correct the line on the lips. So much texture in the area of the mouth on this particular one. Yeah, I definitely prefer working over the gesso instead of the modeling paste. The modeling paste is just, it just soaks everything up and doesn't want to move. And I'm just going to introduce a little bit of black because I'm lazy and don't want to have to mix that dark bluish purple again. All right, I'll leave that alone and let it dry a little bit. It's super wet at this point. All right, I am going to introduce, I think I'm going to go with a deep pink though. I'm going to go with a bright magenta. You're very busy. Good. Keeping you busy. All right, so first I'm going to cover this dark brown that I like, but didn't intend to have there. And I think I want these to be a little bit more into the apple of the cheek, so I'm going to start moving them further in. And over here, I'm just going to start getting these lips a little more under control, and I think I'm going to mix some of the pink and some of the red. As I feel like I painted out some of the bottom of that sort of red mask that I was leaving there. So instead, I'll go ahead and just pop in this pink. And fix this lower lip that I painted over. For some reason I keep giving this one, the paper is, that's why, because the paper is wavy right there. That's all right. That's the whole point to it, not to worry about it. When in doubt, just change the whole thing. No. It is my favorite thing to do. All right, I'm just mixing up a little bit of flesh tone that's really kind of in between the two. So it's a little more almost like a standard flesh color. Let's see here. So all I'm doing now is kind of working on that face shape again. And cleaning up any mistakes. Sometimes, and this is something that can be tricky, sometimes you just need to sort of step back visually and take a look at kind of, you know, where you are, what you've done so far. And sometimes that means just kind of getting up and walking away. Oops. Like, you know, maybe going and getting a cup to drink, you know, a cup of coffee or something to drink. But sometimes it also is taking a photo of it, or, you know, and I think cell phones are like the most amazing thing for artists in that respect, because whereas before you kind of had to go get the camera out and, you know, that type of thing, with cell phones, obviously your phone is probably right there. So just stop what you're doing and take a quick picture to sort of see how, you know, like where you're at with it. For me, I have the computer monitor where I am streaming from, so I can kind of see that view by just looking up. But if you can't, then it's a good idea. Can't decide with these cheeks. 1 minute I want them on that. I think I kind of want hers to be more center, so I'm going to push this over to the side again, where it was when I started. And I need to lighten that up. Maybe not that much. There we go. I'm gonna have to stop using this brush and get a better one in a minute, because this one is like really old and it just flays out. Anyway, but what I was saying before was, if you're working on texture like this, that's the time where it gets really difficult to see what you're doing. With my page warping the way it is, it's hard for me to see what I'm doing. So that is when I would pick the book up, turn it around different ways, maybe take a photo of it so that I can kind of see where I'm at, because with all that texture you can miss stuff really easy. Okay, I'm going to take some of that lighter flesh color and a little water. I'm going to go to the really small, super fine detail brush, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to give her just a little bit of a kind of, not really a white, but close enough to the whites of her eyes. And she already has sort of, you know, white behind there, so I don't really need to do that on those. And anywhere else that you want to create some light or that you need to correct something. There it is. I keep misplacing this. I'm using this because there's literally no paint left in this little paint bottle. It was just what was left in the cap, so that's why I'm totally okay with just painting right out of the cap here. All right, so I'm just adding little bits of highlights here and there. And I'm going to do a little bit of blending. My favorite thing when I'm not using my finger to blend is to just take a flat brush and make sure it's wet but not dripping, but definitely not dry. Oh, it's Laura C. Hello, Laura C. Oh, I'm sorry you were asleep. How was your conference? Was it good? I hope. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to just kind of blend this a little bit. It's kind of harsh. So I'm going to take just that little bit, it's almost like a wash at this point, that little bit of color, and I'm going to start down below it. And once I have a little bit, I'm going to wipe some of it off. Not really, kind of like dry brushing, kind of like a glaze, somewhere in between the two. Technically not either one specifically, and I'm just going to start, you almost want to imagine you're sculpting, to be honest. I know that sounds a little bit presumptuous, but just roll with it. Almost as if you're like sculpting where you want like think of if you were looking at yourself in a mirror and you have like the bridge of your nose and then the planes that come down that begin to become, that kind of the skin that kind of comes down and then becomes the cheekbone area. So you've got all those different little planes that you can play with, and coming in with just a wash of like a light color, it can allow you to almost sort of sculpt that. So like I can come here and I can say, okay, this is my cheek, and I can actually put it down in a kind of round fashion, just like a little cheekbone, which I know I'm kind of failing at this because there's not any paint left. Hold on. We'll make it more light pink. So I can just come in and do it in a more rounded way, and immediately I think it creates a visual sort of plane between this rounded cheek and the darker bridge of the nose, right? So there's like that little triangle sort of shape right there. That's what I'm talking about when I say almost like you visualize you're sculpting it. You can kind of visualize that. So I can come in with a darker pink, and you can sort of identify this is the absolute bridge of the nose, this little line right here, and this is a different sort of plane, and this is a different one, right? So if you just like in your head just kind of like start thinking about it that way, like this is the bridge of her nose. So this plane right here is like it's a little bit better defined here, not here, and all of this needs to be a slightly different color from what the nose is, right? To make it sort of stand out. So in other words, I can come in here and put that color down, and just like that, I've created a little bit of depth that wasn't there before. If you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's not hard. It's not a hard thing to grasp. It's just like a way of sort of thinking of it. You're just kind of, and that's why I like to use a flat, because a flat brush almost kind of helps you think in that like that square, linear sort of way. The cheeks, yeah, it can really help you. Let's see. Can't make these cheeks the way I want. I'm just apparently I refuse to give in. I don't know what I want. So in that case, I'm going to just take this lighter color and just blend it down a little. Maybe that will, maybe a little more of that. Yeah, I do like that better. Here we go. Okay, and I need to build this out just a little bit. So I'm just going to take some of this red, some of this orange. That gets that side. And then what I was talking about before, which was cleaning up the sides of your face, super easy, just rinse. Take whatever color is kind of behind it. So like on this side here, it's the kind of like the cream color. So I'm gonna go out of here because this one has a lot of flesh color. And I'm just gonna do the same thing I did with the inside where I shaped stuff. I'm just gonna shape the side of the face the way I want it to look. Since this one is also cream colored, I'm just gonna clean this one up a little. But over here, it's really a bunch of colors. So I'm just going to kind of work this color in, and again, fingertips and blending, and that's okay. That's better than it was. Now on this one, it's that turquoise, and I do need to fix it, and I don't really want to introduce the off-white, so I'll just go into the turquoise itself. It was a great conference, but it just it takes a lot out of you. I'm sure it does. Did you travel a long way, or was it in town? Because travel, going to, even if it's just a car ride, tends to exhaust, fray my nerves, I guess you would say. All right, and then I'm gonna just keep playing. So okay, again, I kind of easily get distracted, but that's all you have to do to sort of clean up the outer edges. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm going to get her kind of shoulders to stand out on this particular girl, and since I've got turquoise, I might as well use it. So again, this is a lot, just a lot like negative painting, basically. Just negative painting around the figure. And I will usually blend a bit of the, so like right now the background's really harsh where it does a color shift. Often I will just kind of a little tiny bit of water, and I'll just kind of blend things. So like if it's really harsh here and I'm like, you know, not really wanting that, then let me get a different brush that is not a watercolor brush. So like I can come into some of this, whatever this color is, and do the same thing here. That brush is crispy hard. I was using that earlier with matte medium. I need to clean these. Let me try that again. So I can like pick up this flesh color and start to sort of, you know, like soften and blend that if I wanted to. I actually kind of like it really messy like it is. So I'm just going to leave all the harsh edges. but you could do that if you wanted to. And because I did right here, that's like the same color as the flesh tone, I'm actually going to just make that anything but the flesh color. There's no orange left in there. There we go. But I'm not gonna, I don't think anyway at this point I'm gonna define her there. So now it's kind of time to stop being quite as messy and just start working on details. So I've got a small round, and I want to think really quickly about if I want to introduce any other color. I think I want to introduce some turquoise into this face because she doesn't really have any turquoise, or not much. So I'm going to introduce a little, just so we can keep everything, or both of these using a similar color palette. And she needs a lot of work to pulling her nose out. All right, and then I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this color in, just literally just to add the color in so that it's not just right down here. And on here, I do kind of want to encourage a little bit of this turquoise as well. All right. How long have we been streaming? We've been going not quite an hour. How is everyone doing? Is everyone caught up? Oh, a non-accessible building. Those buildings make me irritated. Layla's still cutting paper. All right, I'm going to quick break. I am actually just going to heat this up. I think I don't really need more, but it'll give anyone who's trying to catch up still time. And then when we come back, I'm just going to actually start putting in a little bit of like details and refining and, just making everything look the way that I want it to look for like the final. All right, I way overheated it, so it's too hot to drink now. That's what happens when you get kitties distract you and you're not used to using a microwave. So, all right, details. I've got a medium round brush, a little bit of water, and let's see. Let's get some pupils going on over here. I like my eyes to have a bit of red in them. Yeah, I'm definitely struggling a little bit with this modeling paste. It's just so thirsty. I almost feel like I have to use either a ton of paint, which I'm not in the mood for, or everything has to be super like a wash to get it to move. Maybe I've just been using watercolor too much recently. And I'm not one for messing around too much with eyelashes on these, so I almost just like do just a bunch of lines. Consider it done. Her eyes are really funky. Her irises. I have to redo them. Like that one's a little higher. Go. She's kind of looking up, but her head is not really positioned for that, so I could change it, but I'm not going to. All right, so she's gonna need some work over there, so I'm gonna pop over here really quickly. I'm pretty satisfied with the way her eyes are for the most part. Might just add a little extra dark in there. I'm going to give this girl earrings. We'll do some little earlobes that we'll need to paint. But I'm going to make this very watery and very red. I think on this one I'll let it go in the front. Not that that makes any sense, but it'll work. All right, painting earlobes. Let me get rid of that black and get a little more flesh tone. There's nothing left in there. Need to quit picking that up. Should have put a little tape underneath of this paper too. I've been chasing it around half the night. Well, that went really super dark. So I put too much red into it. Making mud for flesh. What was I making it for? Oop, I forgot. Oh, earlobes. I knew I was painting something. I needed flesh tone for it. All right, should we give her ears too? Let's give her ears too. All right. Get rid of that light color. Go in with a darker color. Yeah, and even darker color. That one we really don't need it. Just creating shadows in the ears, just a little bit, not getting too detailed. And then camouflage. This is not a painting or pages that I would bother to try to get detailed rendition of an ear. Just not the page for that. Not with all this texture anyway. All right, so I've got ears for her. Earrings. Did the other girl have earrings? What do you think? Your girl has no ears. Well, she doesn't need ears if she's not gonna, you know, like if there's not a point to it, because you can just have really bushy hair that you can't see the ears. Happens all the time. Let's see. I want to fix her eyes just a little. You know what? I'm going to get a decent brush and quit fighting with these crappy brushes. I'll just have to wash it really well. Because I can't take it anymore, no. That's a little better. Put this pupil back in. And over here, I actually prefer like how messy her eyes are. The only thing that I am gonna do is I want to put a little bit of shadow in. Just to kind of create a little depth. But I don't want it to be completely like a solid color, so I'm using very much a wash of color. I'll do the same thing, use that same paint even over here, because I didn't, it's too much on there. I didn't really, well, that's way too much water too. All right, hold on. There we go. I didn't put any darkness in when I did hers. I did on this one. I put the turquoise in for shading, but I didn't shade this one at all. I have too much water. It's too much of a wash. There we go. It'll dry a lot lighter than it looks. But okay. How's everyone doing? Now I want that same shade. I see this is like I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing on each of them because I like it. The downside to painting two at once, if you have that sort of matchy personality, which I sometimes don't always, but sometimes do, and you catch yourself doing just that, trying to make them all just right. All right, so I want to use some actual white, which which I have not used at all at this point. This is the last of this in this tube too. I'm going to pop obviously some little bright highlights in. And then I'm going to put just a little hint of a highlight in the, like a reflected light in the iris. And I'm almost tempted to not do that at all here, but we'll do a little bit. With the pupils being wet and everything on this one, just have a feeling I'll smear it everywhere. All right, then I'm going to take some of this super bright white and I'm just going to introduce a little bit here and there, just to kind of almost be like little pops of reflected light, almost as if, well, what am I saying? Almost as if her eyes are wet. Almost as if she's tearing up a little, or, you know, they're just like super glossy. As if they're wet. All eyes are wet. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you know what I mean. Okay, this nose needs some fixing. So I'm going to go to a really small flat. Just make sure the bristles are wet and not dry. And I'm going to, again, that whole concept of like sculpting, I'm just going to sort of round that center part of the nose. I'm going to give it a little shading underneath. Bring that up onto the wings of the nostrils. And I need to add some more color. Almost put white on here. Yeah, I'm going to add a little of this color underneath of the nose on one side. And then I'm going to go into some off-white and a little bit of pink. Maybe I will put a little white into here just to make it a kind of a brighter highlight area. And then right here I'm just going to come in and again, just like I did with the cheeks over here, you can almost suggest that sort of hint at sculpting it simply by putting your paint down in the motion, in this case kind of rounding it in the motion that will create that sense that it's rounded there. Hopefully that made sense. Alrighty. Alright, so I feel like I lost some of my red mask that I initially said I was going to give her. So I'm going to rinse this smaller flat out. And I'm going to come back into that red. I think I'm going to mix pink back into it again. I'm going to get it mixed up with a more wet brush than what I had before. I'm going to put some of this down. And then before it can really get dry, I'm going to rinse, wipe the moisture off, but it's still going to be very wet. And just kind of soften that right at the very edges of it, just so that it's not any harsh edges. Yeah, definitely got that red back. I like that a lot better. I'm going to put a little of that pink down here since I'm here. Let's see. Getting there. I feel like I'm just about done. I'm going to take this smaller flat and just gonna do some really awesome thick dark lashes. There you go. I'm gonna take some red, maybe some pink. And just mess around basically with the lighting or the illusion of the lighting on the lips by altering the color. I'm gonna get a fine detailed brush. That last little stroke went wild. I think it needs to go about there. There we go. Again, all that texture, like it's hard to see, and I know I turned autofocus off, but painting within all that texture, for those of you who aren't painting along on a textured surface, that's what gets kind of iffy, because you just barely, you're trying to paint like the bottom of the lip, but there's a lot of texture rising up there, so it ends up looking like her lipstick is kind of, I don't know, almost like dripping or bleeding out, bleeding down into her skin. But it can be a really cool look too. You can kind of, sort of play with that. Okay, so I'm going to use the little bit of black that I still have. No, I'm gonna need more. I'm gonna put more black out. All right, I'm gonna take this black and just kind of sculpt this hair so that it doesn't look, because it was looking like she was kind of getting bald a little bit there at the top. So we'll just sort of shape this, sculpt this a little. Okay. And then I initially was going to paint it a color other than black, but I think I'm going to leave it as it is. But I think over here I am going to introduce a color that's similar to one that I already have. So I'm going to introduce a really bright red as compared to the darker red that we have. But can't remember which one of these dries darker. I want the one that doesn't dry as dark, but I really can't remember. Plus these are really old. I'm going to have to bang this on a table. Hang on. Sorry about that. How you doing, Jill? Who else was painting along? Is Linda C? I can't remember who else said they were painting along. I don't want to scroll up to find it. I'm losing a paintbrush. I have lost a paintbrush. Oh no, I lazily left it in the paint water. Okay, so I don't want them to both have the same hair. I don't know why. Because I'm gonna be cantankerous. Is that the word? Feisty, whatever. So this girl's going to get really bright red here. The black underneath just adds depth to it, so you don't have to paint over every little bit of it or anything, and you can leave it a little darker closer to the head, and it'll look just like there's a lot of depth there. And this way, the reason that I changed the color on one was so that I could come over here and do this. and have it make sense. Cool. Oh, your girl has red hair. Awesome. Oh, you're very welcome, Sally. And that's interesting. I'd love to see pictures of those. Yeah, they're very it's very classic. I'm surprised I don't paint these types of things anymore. Like, when did I quit? I don't remember. I guess because I just got so far into watercolor and gouache that, and they tend to kind of lead you away from sort of getting, you know, it all over your hands and stuff. At least I don't normally get watercolor on my hands. Not too much anyway, unless I'm blending with my finger. But yeah, I saw that video and was like, I have to make some of these. And then was like, I know what we're doing on Saturday night. All right, I want her hair to sort of be less thick, more like it's flowing out. I think I might even add some more black now that I've shifted her hair color. I'll take this smaller angled brush and just kind of fun times. Now you kind of like, woo, they sort of flow together. Cool. So the next time you decide you want to do something weird, or the next time you decide you want to get out of your comfort zone, so to speak, do something different, maybe think about trying out doing some of these crazy little faces on textured backgrounds. They're super fun. And I'm pretty much done. Does anyone have any questions? Is there anything I didn't cover or that I glossed over, not paying attention to what I was doing? Oh, you blended your watercolor background with your fingers. Good job. Gotta get messy every once in a while, right? Are you guys posted to Discord? Awesome. Do you care if I look at it or show it or don't? Ooh, gorgeous. You guys are doing great. Okay, that's Jill, Linda. Who posted that? Okay, so it's just you two, just Jill and Linda. All right, so here's Linda's. Oops, sorry about the ring light. Can't be helped. I didn't turn the, hold on. We'll share in a moment. When I get autofocus back. Okay. Linda's, there we, no, come on, focus camera. I know you know how. My camera hates me. I'll focus, Christy, but I won't let you see it because of the ring light. There we go. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That is Linda C. And Jill. Jill's picture is a little bit smaller because she did, come on, she did 2 pages. Absolutely beautiful, Jill. Such classic Jill faces. So gorgeous. Love that necklace, too. Jill even got more details in than I did. I like that 2-color, the way the shirt is multiple colors too. And the writing. Gorgeous. Good job. Good job, everyone. Awesome. Can't wait to see everyone else's. Sally, I will check out your video. And let's see. about blending. Would not have done that otherwise. Cool, yeah, fun. And that's it. No questions. Everyone's satisfied and happy. All right. Have a wonderful evening and stay warm or cool depending on where you're at. And I am probably won't go live again until later next month because we're technically still in February. Oh, happy leap year, by the way. And other than that, I will see you guys around the internets. Thanks so much for being here.